Hello, and thank you for joining us today. This is Her Talk Show. This podcast is dedicated to the growth mindset. You see, I believe that you know something that I don't know, and I also believe that I know something that you don't know. And the only way for each of us to both rise in our knowings is to sit in a room and share all the things. For those of you that are new to the show and love inspirational content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in.
We come to you every day with the best speakers, relationship coaches, spiritual mentors, trailblazers, business owners, authors, young hustlers, podcasters, entrepreneurs, fitness trainers, therapists, financial advisors, and more. We ask our guests one question. What do you know that I don't know? Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this episode of Her Talk Show. As of this weekend, we have had over 500 women grace this stage, and we are adding another one to the list. If you are watching us live, welcome. If you're watching us on the replay, #replay so we can send you some love. Either way, if you are watching this video wherever you're watching us at, if you could share it so we can get more eyes and more ears on the awesome content that we are about to share today. Her Talk Show is here to inspire and have you thinking outside the box in no time. Today, I'm speaking with an amazing woman named V. She is a trained astrologer and spiritual advisor with 15 plus years of business experience. She founded the Abundant Goddess Society to empower women to create and scale their businesses using astrology, spirituality, and strategy. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. V specializes in guiding women to align with their soul's purpose and work with the universe's energetics to achieve their goals. She is also about to create a certification program for business astrology with a six-figure empire achieved by 27. Her work is highly regarded for her innovative approach to business coaching. Welcome, lady.
Hey, thank you so much for having me today.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate it. I'm super excited to dive into all of the things. So let's just start right off. What are you sharing with us today? What's the one thing that you know that you wish other people knew?
Well, I definitely do know how to utilize astrology to help your business scale like crazy. I know how to use your birth chart, but also how to use your business's birth chart because, yes, your business also has a birth chart that can be utilized to its best. And this is what I decided to specialize in to help women use the power of astrology to scale their businesses.
I love that. I've heard this before, the business's birth chart. And I have a question about that. Um, because as we all know, when somebody has an idea for a business versus when they start working on their business versus when it's actually like cemented into the county or the state as a business versus when they made their first dollar in their business, all different dates. So how do you choose which date to use?
Well, I always say, I'm also like really, really, really trained in spirituality. So I always say it's whatever feels right to the business owner.
Mm,
A lot of business owners are going to utilize the date that they officially registered their company. So the
mm,
official date that their company kind of like got a number. But other people, like as you mentioned, it's not because you decide to register your company on a date that you're actually launching and starting to work on your company or your business on that specific date. So for other people, it would be the date that they made their first sale, the date that they made their first post, the date that they created their community. So I always, go with whatever feels best to my clients. I know that, for example, my date that I use for my business is not the day that I registered it. It's the day that I first started my community for my
Mm.
goddesses. So for me, that's really like the turning point that says, okay, I'm in business. I'm doing this.
Got it. I love that. So what made you turn to astrology? Has this always been a thing or is this new? Ooh, okay. Tell
So
us.
if you would say 20 years old me that I would one day run a business that would be based on astrology, I would have probably laughed in your face. Because I used to be the biggest astrology skeptic ever. So I used to think that people recharging their crystals under full moon were crazy, but they were special. They were like in a special category of their own that was better to leave there. And for me, like, astrology was pretty much horoscopes for like, so people that were like, yeah, the stars have a language. I was like, okay, yeah, right, sure, whatever. Same category of crystals holder. And then when I really started getting into spiritual coaching, which was a bit like about 5 years ago, I really kind of like started exploring the different sides of spirituality. So like, meditation, tarot reading, my first draw at an online business actually was me offering tarot readings and custom spell casting to people. And then I kind of stumbled upon this really badass astrologer on Instagram. And her vibe is amazing. It's like I got called to that woman's vibe. I was like, if there's a woman that's gonna make me believe in astrology, it's that person. That's for sure. And of course, I started like I started small in her world. I started like by purchasing small like meditation thing, and I was like, okay, she's all right, she's good, right? And I was like, okay, maybe there's more to astrology that I would like to admit. So I enrolled in her class where she was teaching basically how to read a birth chart from A to Z. And that class rocked my world. Like from minute one in the class, from like the last minute, I was like, holy crap. Oh my God. Like, of course it's that way. Why haven't I seen this before? Like, I mean, of course this guy was like an AO. Like, of course it didn't work with that person. Like, it was like that for like the whole class, and that rocked and changed my world basically. So thanks to this amazing astrologer there.
Wow, that is so cool. How long ago was that?
That was about 2 years ago now.
And then why did you decide to hone in on businesses versus just teaching people astrology?
It's again one of those things that slowly evolved into what it is right now. So, what a lot of people do not know about me is I'm actually a bachelor in marketing.
Mm.
So, I love marketing, I love business. And by the time I followed that class, kind of like plants a seed and then the seed grows in your brain. And as I kept learning about astrology, I was like, this could have so much potential in business. This could help so many business owners understand who the heck they are, why they're doing things a certain way, what is their soul's contract, and what is their business's soul's contract. I was like, this has to be something. This has to be out there. This has to be like a science. And this was the first time that without even knowing that it was called this way, that I kind of like taught about business astrology.
Mm.
And then as I researched it, I learned that it was actually a whole world of people like teaching business astrology. So I was like, this is for me. It's like not only can I help women get into business, but I can also utilize my newfound passion about astrology and just like merge everything together.
Wow, that's awesome. So as far as well, first of all, soul's contract, I kind of know what that is, but can you, for people who have no idea what that is, can you dive into what that is?
Sure. So for me, it's a term that resonated really, really strongly with me when I followed, this astrologer's like class. She used the term soul's contract to define the birth chart. So this is kind of like a synonym of birth chart, soul's contract. Because what a birth chart is actually a snapshot of the planet's position at the time and moment of your birth. And those position influence the person that you are. So depending on like the different elements that are interacting together in your birth chart, it creates not only your personality, but what it is that you are meant to do in this lifetime. Because again, I'm a really spiritual person and I believe strongly in reincarnation. So I believe that your soul, before entering your body in this lifetime, kind of like created a contract with the universe. So there's nothing, for me, there's nothing that happens for nothing in the universe. So the time and place of your birth is kind of like already predefined by your soul before you actually come into your body. So this is why, it's I kind of like borrowed the term soul's contract because for me, it's pretty much fitting of what is a birth chart.
Beautiful. So I have a question regarding that. And I one of the sayings that I say a lot is the universe isn't for you or isn't against you, it's for you. So anything that's happening
Mm-hmm.
is meant to help you, not hurt you. And with that, there's a lot of backlash within, like, what if you die young? What if you were raped? What if you're tortured? What if your dad molested you? And how do you explain that? So when it comes to your soul's purpose or your birth chart, how does that work? Is it very similar?
Yeah. So again, this is like really diving deeper into reincarnation theories. But yes, I do believe that even those bad, situation are meant to have you evolve as a soul. So even if like the situations are not ideal or harsher, like for example, if you're stuck into a war, if you're raped, if you're molested, like, if you die young, this for me, this is all part of a bigger picture. It's whatever your soul decided that was meant to learn in this lifetime. And then it's no matter how much your situation may suck, the teaching and learnings that you're going to get from this is what your soul is meant to learn in this lifetime. So, I mean, there are a lot of rape survivors, for example, that are amazing spokesperson, that are great leaders, and their leadership and their kind of like purpose came from that really traumatic event. So
Mm,
it's kind of for me, those are really great example of people that use really, really shitty and traumatic events and turned it into something really positive. So for me, this is what growth is. And no matter like I always say, no matter what happens into my life, good or bad, is part of my journey. It's part of my path. It's part of my purpose. It's meant to happen and it's part of the learnings that I have to go through.
got it. What about the
What
person that
percent?
perpetrated it?
Well, that again is also for me part of his soul contract, part of something that he needs to overcome. And unfortunately, each time that you come into this life to learn something, it doesn't mean that you're going to succeed. So obviously those people that have like that anger or those issues that, lead them to, do those really awful things have things to solve within their own soul and it's probably not going too great for them.
Mm, makes sense. Yeah. Can a can a birth chart or business birth chart foresee if a business is going to make it or not make it?
So this would me for me, this would be more where you kind of like combine the spiritual side of coaching. So I always say, and even when I do tarot reading, for example, and I have clients that really want me to kind of like feed to them, like, the step by step, like kind of like plan of what they should do from there. So I always say it's the same thing with a birth chart. It can expose you the energy, whatever is present. It can expose to you whatever are your strengths, whatever are your weaknesses, whatever you're predisposed to do, and how you're predisposed to react. But it cannot take decisions for you. This is up to you to take your own decision regarding the information that you have. And it's the same thing, for example, clients that come to me. And obviously they want to succeed. They want results. That's why they come to me. And I give them the tools, I give them the plans, I give them the strategies, but down the line, I cannot do it for them. It's up to them to take the tools, take the information that they have, and transform it into something that is going to be productive, creative, or not.
Makes sense. Shannon Centers has in court, well, sort of. Maybe you can give her some feedback. She said, such great questions, especially this morning. I have been contemplating the death of my nephew a few weeks ago.
Well, yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, sometimes it sucks when you have people that die really young. But again, for me, it's because they fulfilled whatever purpose they came on earth to be. And you're like, okay, well, how is a 5 years old child is gonna fulfill a purpose? Well, maybe his purpose was meant for somebody else. Also. And Shannon, I totally reach out to you because I actually lost my dad beginning of March. So about a month and a half ago now. And this is something that I contemplated. And for me, when I look at my dad's death, um, of course it sucks because I lost the physical part of my dad. But for me, being a really spiritual person, I did not lose the spiritual side of my dad. So the way that I see it is my dad died at this moment because it was the right moment for him. He fulfilled whatever he was, he came on this lifetime to fulfill. And his passing was meant to happen at the time that it happened. And he was not an old person. He was still really young for, his generation, like he was 69. And this is still something that, I think I was able to process really good because of my understanding in the universe and my really, really strong spiritual beliefs. Like I remember people telling me a week or two after, they were like, you look really fairly good for someone who just lost their dad. And I'm like, because I lost the physical part of him, but I never really lost him. Like he's still there. I still talk to him. I mean, I still he sometimes I feel him around me. So it's like it's this transition from the physical to the spiritual. And this is usually the part that sucks the most because obviously having a spiritual presence is not having a physical presence. You cannot touch them, you cannot hug them, you cannot actually talk to them. But it's just transitioning to a new way of interacting with someone's energy.
Totally makes sense. She said it's kind of like choose your own novels where the story is pretty much set, but there are several possible journeys. Birth chart. I definitely believe his choice to leave with a note. Oh, he was 17.5 years old. It's for others around. I have and do still connect with my nephew's energy today.
Yeah, that's beautiful. There are some there's some things that we would never 100% understand of the universe. Even myself sometimes, I don't have all the answers out there, and that's totally fine. But I think that the clue is to actually make it mean something for you, to actually make it mean something that feels right for you. And that is going to help you as an individual grow and move forward.
Yes, definitely. I agree. As far as, and Shannon, I'm very sorry for your loss, by the way. That's got to be heartbreaking on multiple levels. And thank you for sharing, by the way. As far as businesses and starting to align with the birth chart, obviously the obvious one is to link up with someone like you, right? To help them with that. But if maybe they're just kind of dabbling, they're like, I don't want to invest on all this before I see something. What are some steps? What are a couple of things that somebody could do to really start to maybe dabble or take a little toe into the lake of birth charts, business, structure, strategy?
Well, of course, there are different tools that you can use. I mean, you can totally start by taking a birth chart reading class, like I pretty much did when I started my journey on astrology. And, it's obviously like shorter term commitment than working with a mentor or coach. And usually it's also cheaper. So it's like a smaller investment if you want to start just like, exploring astrology on your own, seeing what it's all about. Of course, there's always books on astrology that are really like great if you're more like a book nerd than like, a showing up live to class every kind of week or doing, class watching on your own. Or there's YouTube. On nowadays, there's literally everything on YouTube that you can, search how to read a birth chart. What is Mercury related to? What is my Mercury placement going to influence? What is Chiron? How do I use Chiron? Like, there's like a bunch of things on YouTube nowadays that you can obviously watch for free. Now, YouTube will never replace a person with who you interact on, like, on a live basis that you can ask question to and have answer from. But it's definitely a start if you want to just like start exploring what the heck is astrology about.
Awesome. Totally makes sense. So books would probably be a nice smaller investment into it.
Yeah.
Is there anybody out there that you would recommend, then obviously you, but like mentors or coaches in this arena that maybe you followed to kind of start your journey?
Of course. I mean, that amazing woman astrologer that got me out of my skepticism, her name is Danielle Page. You can follow her on Instagram. She is amazing. And I don't believe she offers one-on-one coaching, but I know she does have a yearly membership that give you access to meditation circles that she does like every month, and that give you access to like, weekly emails and stuff like that. And of course you can just follow her content on Instagram. Like already like her free content on Instagram is out of this world. So this is someone I would definitely follow on Instagram if you're really much into astrology or you want to start dabbling into astrology. This is a person that I strongly recommend for you guys.
Awesome. As far as yourself and when you first kind of started opening yourself up into this world, what was one of the limiting beliefs that you kind of had to set aside in order to be open to this new concept or insight?
So I am a really practical thinking person. So I'm kind of like, I need to see it to believe it kind of person. I mean, I'm also a PhD candidate, so I do research and I like to have like research that you can quantify. I like to have physical proof of my stuff. And obviously, when you dabble into the spiritual world, the one thing that you cannot have is physical, tangible proof unless you have gone through it yourself
Mm.
or you know someone that you would basically trust with your life that tells you, oh my God, I've gone to this amazing person. She read my birth chart, or I've gone to this amazing tarot reader. She read my cards and it's totally happened for me. So I always say when I teach, spirituality to my clients and I kind of like teach them to lay back and enjoy the journey, I always tell them, like, when you manifest things and I'm telling you to trust in the universe, I'm telling you to basically trust into an entity that you never seen or spoke to before, that you have no clue what they look like, what they do, like whatever they eat in winter. And I'm asking you to trust blindly that said entity that you have never met.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know it sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
And this was the main thing that I had to overcome. It's like trust, blind trust in something that I cannot quantify, hold, put my hands on, or talk to.
Yeah. That would be tough. How did you get over it? Like, what did you do
I
specifically?
experienced it.
Huh?
I experienced it for myself. Um, Actually, the first time that I went, I have to tell you this. This is actually like one of like the stories that I keep telling over and over and again. The first time that I met my spiritual coach back in the days, And that was the first time. She didn't know me. She had no clue what the heck I got, like her reference. I got her name because I usually live in Montreal. She lives in LA. And she's like, hi, strange lady that booked a consultation over the internet with me. And as we dabbled into the tarot reading, at some point she asked me, she's like, do you have a business? And at the time I did not. So I was like, no, I don't. She's like, okay, because I'm seeing you having a business that's going to have as a main core something that's related to the stars or astrology. And I was like, yeah, sure, lady. Like, that was like back in the days where I was still a total astrology skeptic. And I was like, yeah, sure, lady. Of course, of course. And now, like, that's something that I keep telling you. Like, you remember when we first met and you told me that I would have a business like related to astrology, and I almost laughed in your face? And she's like, yeah, remember.
So funny. Wow. That's interesting. Definitely. How did you found her just over the internet?
Actually, I found her, it was the randomest thing ever. It was one of my friend that was also really much into spirituality. She's like, "Have you heard of this girl? Like she does tarot reading and stuff." And I've known her for a while. And I'm like, "No, I've never heard of her." She's like, "Okay, follow her and like book a consultation with her. Like it's gonna be worth your money and worth your while." And I was like, "Okay, sure." Book the consultation. And that's how it all started.
Wow, that's so cool. Um, as far first of all, for those of you watching live, thank you for being here. For those of you watching on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay so we can send you some love. You have a ton of people watching you live. As far as who should be contacting you, who do you work with? Can you let us know all
Yeah.
the things?
So I am working with, first of all, open-minded women business owners. You do not have to be an astrology buff or know anything about astrology to work with me. I simply ask that you have an open mind. Now, this woman obviously owns her business and as already some offers that like she's selling consistently or not, but her main goal in her business is to be able to scale her business to a higher level without necessarily having to work her ass off and burn out. So the way that I do this is that I will help those women with astrology to attract higher end clients and align clients that are basically going to hire them on the spot for the price that they're asking because they are simply being spoken to in a way that resonates so much with them that they're going to hire that woman. And the way that I do this is we basically work on the messaging, on the marketing, and on the strategies to reach those people, to speak to their, their niche that they want to speak to, and we create those strategies and those messaging strategy from their charts and from the actual transits. So of course, it's one thing to work with your chart to know what are your strengths, your weaknesses, where are your traumas coming from how to overcome obstacles. But it's another thing to know how to combine those things in your chart with the current transits.
Yes, that definitely makes sense for sure. How long does that take to do the whole process?
So I am a strong believer in long-term containers. So my shorter container that I have for one-on-one work is 6 months. So I offer 6 months and I offer 12 months because I really believe that for a real transformation, for real embodiment of the teachings to happen, you need to build on a relationship between the client and the coach or mentor. And this is not something that takes a week
Mm,
or takes a month.
mm,
So for me, yes, my clients are going to experience already changes in like the first month, the first 2 months. But those are always called them the surface change. It's like where you start seeing things shift. But for things to completely turn around, do a 180 and get really, really embodied in the way that they're kind of like integrated into the foundation, it definitely takes at least 6 months, if not a year.
mm.
I know that when I take on my personal coach, like my coach right now, I have like 1 year contracts. Like I only sign by 1 year contract. So it's like, so I have a time to build a relationship with that person. And she also has the time to know me, know how I react, know what my mind is, know what I like, what I don't like. So each time that I contact her and I ask her for help or support, she knows what to do.
Mm.
Already, she knows what to say to help me. She knows what direction to point me. And this is something that takes time.
Mm. Yeah. What are your big dreams for your business?
Oh gosh, I mean, I think you mentioned earlier that I'm in the process of building a business astrology certification program. So this is something that I really, really want to get kind of like established, because for me, business astrology is kind of like the future of business. It's the tool that everyone should be able to utilize in one way or another. So for my business, I would like for that business certification program, that business astrology certification program, to kind of become like a really well known, and something also that that my business gets really known for, because I think it embodies like the core of like who I am, what I want to do, which is spread the knowledge and spread the power of business astrology.
Mm.
So, my goal ultimately is to reach as many women as possible, to help them grow stronger, to help them build empires. And let's say that I have a lot of excitement for this program that I'm building.
Beautiful. Why do you do what you do?
And so, why do I do what I do?
Mhm.
I always say in life, find a way to make money with what makes you happy and not try to make money to be happy.
Mm.
While astrology and spirituality makes me happy. And another thing that makes me really happy is to see my women go from point A, like day zero, and then like notice and witness a transformation to day 90, day 120. This is something that makes me so happy.
Mm.
It's like I live for this. I live for my clients contacting me, being like, "Oh my God, V, like I saw my ex like today and I could not give less of a shit." Or, "Oh my God, V, like I just got like, 3 clients like in my container. Oh my God, V, I just sold out my container." Like, and it's like, great, you sold it out, but it's to see their expression when they tell me that they sold it out.
Mm.
It's like, and that just makes my world. That makes me like the happiest person like ever.
Yes. Where do you hang out? If people want to follow you on social media, where should they look for you?
Well, my 2 main platforms are Instagram, so it's at oracle_v, or on Facebook. You can follow me under my full name, Véronique Lacroix, which is, yes, it's a really French Canadian name. But it's written there. So you can like, copy paste it or like type it on your computer pretty much without, massacring it. So yeah, Facebook, IG are my 2 main platforms. There's is my website where you can basically get the link to all of my socials on my main page. The website is still a bit under construction. Like I'm doing business with my partner for this Ubel's website for a living. And I kind of like got him like, "Hey, can you please like accelerate the building process?" thing. So yeah, it's gonna be done by like, mid-May, but definitely IG or Facebook are my main 2 hanging out place.
Is this your Insta? Is that right or no?
It's totally right.
Yay! All right. So, any of you watching live, make sure you follow V on her Insta or Facebook, predominantly. I'm sure you're in other places. And link up with her, drop into her DMs, connect, and see all of the things. This was absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. I think that this is awesome. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Oh my God, there are so many. But basically, if you haven't tried business astrology, guys, like I don't care how much of a skeptic you are, just fucking do it. Okay? Just freaking do it. I don't care if you just start by following me or following another business astrologer and like binging on their content and like saving every one of their posts. But do it. Just do it. I'm telling you, it is going to change your life. Okay, change mine, and it is going to change yours. I always say 5 months of spiritual coaching or 5 months of coaching in general is better than 5 years of therapy.
Yes.
So do it.
I would agree with that for sure. Well, this was phenomenal. I so appreciate all the goodness that you shared today, V. If you resonated with V and all the goodness that she shared, make sure you connect with her. We got her website. We have her Insta. She's on Facebook, all the areas. Drop into her DMs, say hello, get a conversation rolling. And we love to connect people here. So thank you so much for joining us on Her Talk Show. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and love content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. And if you have an amazing story, idea, theory, concept that you would like to share, make sure to check us out at hernation.life to be a possible guest. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth